Yep, we're alive.
Oh my god. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Welcome to this week's episode of the 13th Floor Podcast. I'm Cece.
I'm Alex.
I'm James.
And what we were supposed to talk about last week, radio conspiracies. We're talking about this week.
Yeah, we're a little late to the party on this one this week.
Yeah, major thanks to Callie and Troy for stepping in and helping host while Alex and I were away on family business for the Thanksgiving holiday. James, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good, other than coming down with something the following day, but I got to play with dogs and sent you all a picture of the little teeny tiny Willow that I got to play with. Yeah, teeny tiny.
Well, I'm sorry you came down with a bug. It seems to be going around right now. We actually have flu type A at our house.
That's worse than B2, I think.
I don't know. I mean, she seems to be doing okay considering, but...
We'll report back once we get it.
Yeah.
There you
we'll
go.
let you know once it cycles through me and Alex, because I don't know how I'm not going to get it. We're at the doctor's office, and she's, like, trying to hang off me. She's like, Mom, hold me. And I'm just like, girl.
Stay away.
Stay away.
Yeah.
But when you're a parent, you got to do what you got to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyways, Alex, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I got to see a lot of family I hadn't seen in a long time. I went to Mammoth Cave.
Yeah.
Went to the cave for a little bit.
Nice.
That was fun.
Yeah, but we got pulled over on the way out by a park ranger.
What'd you do? Poaching?
He said I was speeding egregiously.
And he was, this is the thing that is infuriating, James, is that we were not speeding. Normally when you get pulled over for something, you're like, okay, I know what I did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He pulled us over and we were both like, what did we do? Like, I don't know what we did.
And then he told me what the speed was, and I was like,
There's no
I
way.
was like, dude, like normally, like whenever I deal with the police, I'm like very agreeable. Oh yes, sir, yes. But I was like, no, I wasn't going that fast.
So that's what I clocked
I wasn't.
you at.
I was like, there's no way you
Yeah.
clocked me at that speed. There's like no world where I was going that fast.
Yeah. And then we got on the highway and I was like, we were going as fast as he said we were going. I was like, there's no way. But still, it's like his word against ours. And I think that we were targeted because we had out-of-state plates, and he knows we're not going to come back to Kentucky to fight a speeding ticket. So I think that it was a little uncalled for, if I do say so myself.
There's a whole Reddit thread about like claims like that people are like, was not going as fast as they said I was.
Yeah. I think
They
quotas
pulled me
should
over.
be illegal. It incentivizes this kind of shenanigans.
Yeah, it was.
it does.
It was absurd. But if you ever want to go to Mammoth Cave State Park in Kentucky, make sure you don't have out-of-state plates.
And if you're in state, just floor it. You can floor it.
Yeah, you could. Floor it.
That's right. That's right. They'll leave you alone.
No, drive safely out there, guys.
Yeah.
Try not to get pulled over when you're not doing anything wrong. All right. What's our icebreaker today, Jaime?
Well, as both Corn and Kane requested, since we're doing radio, actually a few people may have also requested radio, so sorry if we didn't name you. I was thinking, in terms of, when I think of radio, I think of listening to music on the road and things like that. So, two-part question. One, what's the station you think about when you think of radio? And two, what's your favorite genre of music?
Oh, mine, people think that I'm boring because I like to listen to oldies. 60s and 70s music is my jam.
I'll make you feel worse because that's not even really oldies anymore. That's more classics, and what we grew up with is oldies.
Stop it, James. We don't have to talk about that. Yeah.
They play Lady Gaga at Kroger now.
Yeah, it's bizarre, but that's just life, man.
Yep.
Music keeps going. Man. But
Music keeps going.
music keeps going.
Yeah.
No, I have fond memories with 104.5 The Cat in Lexington. I think that's what it was. 104.5 The Cat.
Luis.
And 103.3. What was that?
Z-Rock.
Z-Rock. That was, I remember.
Oh, man. I like those guys.
We used to
That's same.
listen to Z-Rock on the way to school every single morning when my dad would drive me. But we used to call in 104.5. Me and my friend Amy would call in and request songs. And when you got your song on, oh my gosh, it was like the world was made. The world was made. What about you, Alex?
I'm an anything fan for the most part. Country excluded, except for old country, like Johnny Cash and stuff like from that era, and older. Anything modern is just complete garbage.
Yeah.
I think a lot of hip hop is pretty bad, but there's some really great stuff, especially some old stuff like De La Soul, and even though I know they're still around. MF Doom was one of my favorites.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yes, but you know there's some really great stuff, and there's still really good stuff, but a lot of the gangster rap stuff, it's mostly a big miss.
I really like, this is not part of my answer, but Hobson and Tech Nine in terms of hip hop, those are two of my favorite artists. They're just phenomenal.
I haven't listened to much Tech Nine.
It's great.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to any of it. I heard that if you like classic music or oldies, is what I'm gonna keep calling it, then that means that you're just looking for nostalgia. Like you want something simple.
Yeah, but you're listening to things from before you were born, though, so I don't know if I'd call it nostalgia.
I'm an old soul. The nostalgia is that I used to listen to that music when I was a child.
Makes sense.
Yeah. James, what's your answer?
Well, similar to you all, Z-Rock was like the go-to, and still is, when I'm listening to the radio. And when it comes to genres, I love pretty much every genre, but heavy metal's easily like the one I keep going back to. Like I can listen to that any time of day.
I just can't picture you listening to heavy metal.
I do not look heavy metal. I look like I look like I should play golf, and yeah, I'm after the goth girls because I've got I look on the inside how they look on the outside.
Oh,
that was so cringy.
What's
It was like the cringiest thing I've said on this show.
What metal stuff do you like the most, James?
Oh, I mean, my absolute favorite, I do like the older stuff, Sabbath and Judas Priest and stuff like that, but I also really like Cradle of Filth, Behemoth, and Necrophagist. And I really like, even though a lot of people would argue it's not metal, but I mean, if Ghost is metal, this is definitely metal. But Kim Dracula is pretty good. It's like hip hop new metal sound. I don't know how to describe it. It's weird.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I need to check something.
All right, Louise pulled our microphone off.
Louise, you gotta go. Kind of
Girly.
I don't think that's ever happened before.
go away.
Yeah, that hasn't happened.
Sorry, Louise, you can't be over here.
We get a dog wrangling section.
All right. So now, you go over there. There you go. We moved her to the other side of the couch so that she can't knock everything off.
There we go. She wants to say that her favorite radio station is 102.6 The Wolf.
Oh, see, I didn't have those stations growing up, so I liked 93.3. Or it was called D93. And the hosts were John Boy and Billy, and they were hilarious.
I remember that growing up, too.
What was the radio station at UK, University of Kentucky?
WRFL.
Yeah, WRFL.
I loved WRFL when I went to college there. And I even listened to it for a while after we moved here. I found like an app that would allow me to listen to any radio station, and it was great. And then I just kind of fell off.
I was just going to say, Lexington used to have a classical station, and like last year, the year before, they dropped it.
Oh.
That makes me mad.
Sorry, James.
Yeah.
Yeah. R.I.P. Classical station.
If only there was an app on your phone that could...
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Are you guys ready to talk about radio stations?
I'm ready.
Yep.
Woo-woo. All right. James, I'll be honest. When I started researching this, I got kind of angry because I was like, I feel like I just cannot get into this topic. But then I found a website that put it very, very easy to understand out there. It should have been more easy for me to understand because I was a telecommunications major, right? Mm-hmm. I took classes on this, but, man. Anyways, I am talking about pirate radio stations.
Ahoy, matey.
Yeah. It's an unlicensed radio station that's being played on frequencies meant for licensed stations. So the pirates have hijacked and taken over the official airwaves and made themselves the captains.
Ooh.
You know? Yeah.
Do they have official names? Like W whatever? I'm assuming no.
I don't know. I don't think so. I didn't
If
find
I was a
anything about
pirate
official names.
station, I'd be like, you are listening to WRRR.
Oh, James. Well, these pirates, some of them did it just for a hobby. But also, some of them do it for political agendas, like, oh, I want to override the official airwaves and get my political message out there, you know? And that's honestly what I thought about when I started thinking about, like, pirate radio stations. It's like, oh, I bet you this is just a whole bunch of, like, people that want to get on and say, ooh, anarchy. But, these stations are illegal because if you think about it, they've hijacked a frequency that could be used for something like an emergency signal. So it's not a good thing, some people think. But pirate radio mostly started in the 1960s for a very innocuous reason.
Why?
Yeah, according to, and this is the website, I gotta give props to it, because it just spelled everything out so beautifully, and it made it very interesting. scienceandmediamuseum.org.uk. Yeah, back in the UK in the 1960s, all the stations were run by the BBC, and they had this thing called Needle Time. Have you guys ever heard of Needle Time?
Nope.
Needle time?
Needle Time.
No.
It was a restriction by the Musicians Union and Performance Limited, where the BBC was only allowed to play 1 hour of pop music a day. Or actually, no, I think it was a week. It was just a very small amount of time that they could play, like, bands that were gaining popularity, like the Beatles come to mind. And people wanted to listen to pop music, but the BBC was like, sorry, we can't. Our hands are tied. So that's where the pirates come in. These people wanted to be able to play music that people wanted to listen to for more than an hour every week or whatever it was. And so they figured out how to hijack the airwaves, avoid detection, and play modern music for the times that this was happening. And they did it all via repurposed boats and ships, like ferries.
Really?
That's why they're called pirates. Yeah, they had all their equipment on ships. These little floating studios had microphones. They had turntables to actually play the music, records obviously, and then they needed a transmitter to convert the music that played, into the radio waves so they could send the signal up and then back down to people's radios. But there were also land pirates over the years. Not all of this took place on the ocean, but it was a lot more risky to be a land pirate because they were called tower block pirates. And in order to get their signals out to as many people as possible, they had to get as high as possible because the signal could only reach as far as your eye could see. So you had to get really high from a tall building and send your signal out so that you could send it as far as possible. But getting to the roof wasn't always easy. And so they had to get their hands on special keys that were generally used by, like, the fire brigade, because it was in the UK and that's what they call it, in case of an emergency. And the reason it was so risky is because their broadcast would usually require, and I remember doing this when I was little, flipping over the tape or the cassette or the record.
Sure.
Because they're usually two-sided. So if you have to go and flip your cassette, authorities might have time to pinpoint your signal and then come and find you or confiscate your technology. So in the 70s, they finally figured out how to do things more discreetly. From a studio that sent a signal to the tower block, the frequency would reach a transmitter and then convert the signal and send it out across a different frequency, so it was harder for the police to actually, like, track and pinpoint where you were located. And then when the police got better at doing that, they were able to, split it even across more frequencies, and then they tried infrared LED. It's all very technical, but at the same time really simple. Because they were able, to figure this out and get it out there. But these pirates were building this equipment, especially transmitters, themselves at home. Because if the police take away your transmitter, that's not a piece of technology that they sell at the department stores, I guess, back then. So people had to make them themselves. And can you guys guess one common household item that people use to make their transmitters?
Aluminum foil.
I feel like James is going to know what it is.
I was thinking like wire hangers.
Wire hangers?
That's a good guess.
No, you guys are both wrong. It's biscuit tins.
Biscuit tins?
Biscuit tins. Little cookie tins. because it was more discreet, because the police weren't initially, like, looking for biscuit tins. They were like, oh, it's a box of cookies. I don't need anything to do with that, but it's really a transmitter. Mm-hmm. And they actually came from World War II, so they're older in origin. But if you were caught with, a biscuit tin transmitter back then in German-occupied territory, it was not a good thing. You didn't come back from that. So anyways, they continued making those in order to do their pirate radio at some point. Yeah, and police were not pleased that this was happening, that these pirates were stealing the frequencies, and they wanted to make sure that their main reason was that important radio stations weren't hijacked because, what if there's an emergency broadcast and you're playing
what
the
if
Beatles?
nuclear war begins?
Nobody's going to know because you've hijacked the waves.
That's right.
It sounds like a good thing, frankly. But yeah.
Yeah, living blissfully.
Yeah, just hear Strawberry Fields and don't worry.
Yeah. No, the pirates would argue and say that, there's actually a lot of space, a lot of frequency space for us to be playing this music, so it's not as risky and dangerous. Because when you change your dial or flip your dial, at least at least in my car, I feel like this ages me, but in my car, my dad had an old Cadillac, and it had like the old school radio where you had to twist the knob to move your radio, and you would hear the static in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that static was the airwaves that these pirates were trying to get to. So it was static already. So they're like, it's no big deal for us. And it would only happen, on very rare occasion. If somebody had a really low quality transmitter, then maybe they could hijack a station when it was needed for something important, but they said it didn't really happen.
Yeah, this just sounds like bureaucracy to me.
It sure is,
We've got all
James.
these rules about needle time, and we don't want people competing with our state-funded radio, so we'll come up with that as an excuse. Ooh,
yep.
N-R-K.
Oh, James, look at you. You ought to be the spokesperson, the marketer for these
stations. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a future.
Yep. Well, that being said, and I know this slightly deviates from pirate radio, but I don't know how I could talk about this topic without mentioning the Max Headroom incident of 1987.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. November 22nd, 1987. And when we were originally going to record this episode, dear listener, it was actually on the date, the anniversary of the 38th anniversary of the Max Headroom incident. So this was a hijacking that occurred, a very creepy hijacking. If you've never seen Max Headroom, a quick Google search will haunt your dreams for the rest of the day. But he's this really, I shouldn't say he's creepy. I find him creepy. Maybe you're going to think he's cool. No, he's terrifying. But he's this really weird character. And he wasn't brought about by this incident. He was already a pre-existing character from earlier in the 80s. And he was supposed to be futuristic. So he's glitchy. He had on a background that's oscillating in the background. Supposed to be future. And, oh gosh, I can't stand it. But in 1987, a pirate took control of a TV broadcast in Chicago. And they went on the air not once but twice in a Max Headroom mask. And they just messed around. It happened on WGN TV in the middle of a sports segment. Signal went black, then turned to static, and then there was Max Headroom dancing. Yeah, in front of a piece of sheet metal, I guess, or some people say it was cardboard. I didn't want to stare at it too long. But he was on the air for 22 seconds. But then WGN was they were quick. They were able to regain control of their frequency and get things back normal. There's what the heck was that? That was kind of weird. But then he reappeared 2 hours later on a different station, WTTW. But they were not able to get him off the air quickly. So this dude in a very creepy mask was able to just stand on screen dancing and making weird noises and moaning. And he flashed his booty butt, had somebody spank him with a fly swatter on his butt in front of everybody.
So futuristic.
Yeah, well, people were mortified. Like, witnesses that actually watched this, it really did upset people. Which I wouldn't blame them. You know, you're watching the news and all of a sudden this Max Headroom guy's on your TV screen showing an adult toy. He was not happy.
Edgy.
He was edgy, I guess. He was crude. But the FCC and the FBI both hopped in to investigate because hijacking a TV station is not quite as easy as supposedly doing it with a radio signal. So the hijacker would have needed a very powerful microwave transmitter, a clear line of sight to the station's broadcast towers, and it would have required some serious planning. And at the end of the day, we still have no idea who did this. It's still a mystery. Yeah, it's weird. There's a lot of theories. And I read some thread, I think it was on Reddit, that some guy who he says he knows who did it say that they did it to prove that TV signals were actually very vulnerable. I don't know. It's a weird way to kind of go about that. They could have done anything, but they did Max Headroom. And I don't care who did it. I am angry at them for putting this terrifying image in my brain. But shout out to Michelle Garguglio. I'm so sorry, girlfriend. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. She's now Michelle Edgington. But she put out a very well-written article and a blog about this and also several other mysteries. So if you want to learn more about the Max Headroom incident, go check out her blog. Mm-hmm. Alex, why? He's got Max Headroom up on his computer.
No,
I don't want to see this.
That actually reminds me of, I remember seeing a clip of, this was not too long ago. This was like 2021 maybe. But there was some Australian news thing and they were doing a regular routine report. And then the camera, like, cut to this creepy black mass, eyes wide shut looking ritual for a couple of seconds, and then it cut back and the host seemed very uncomfortable, confused, and like I never heard anything about it since then.
I wonder what happened. I think about Iron Man 3 with the Mandarin. You'll never see me coming.
Yeah.
And he broke into the airwaves. I think that what's his name? Dr. Evil from Austin Powers did it too.
Yeah. All the time in fiction.
Yeah, there's lots of fictional stories, but the Max Headroom incident actually happened. But that is pirate radio. James, I know you're talking about Spooky Ooky radio.
Yeah, I'm talking about ghost stations, sometimes called buzzer stations. So they're flipping weird. There's a lot of them. There's one in particular, though, that I'm obsessed with and have been for years, so I'm really glad that this got requested. But I'm going to talk about some of the lesser-known ones first. One in particular was the Lincolnshire Poacher, and it was this British shortwave number station back in the day that was actually transmitted by the government. We know that much. In fact, a lot of these are either government or government adjacent, I guess you could say. But anyway, it comes from this song that they used as their interval signal, and that's a common thing. Is you're going to hear a lot of weird noises, static, buzzing, and then music. But the music's not like popular or listener requested. And they use this old English folk song called the Lincolnshire Poacher as their main interval signal. So what was interesting about it, in addition to the fact that it was, like a government station that wasn't meant for any kind of recreational purpose, was they had multiple antennas, and they always had this pre-recorded British accent lady reading 5 numbers. Always 5 numbers, like 0, 5, 1, 1, 9, things like that. And this is interesting. The last number was always in a higher pitch. So 0, 5, 1, 1, 0, 5, 1, 1, 9. There was always like a higher pitch to that last number. So what people think the purpose of this was that the station was actually having codes, and these codes were being encrypted by undercover agents in other countries. That was the whole point of it. And the way they would do this, it kind of reminds me of what's that called, where you have the one-time login for websites? Well, there's a decryption technique called OTP, or one-time pad, and that in cryptography means you have a single pre-shared key that's larger or equal to the message key, and you can utilize that as a cipher to translate whatever that message is. And we don't actually know when they got started, this particular station, but we do know that the broadcast started around the 70s, but they had precursor stations since probably about World War I. And it's largely believed, and you're going to see a parallel with some of these other stations, this kind of really had its heyday during the Cold War. So it's very likely that the people in question, these agents, were probably behind the Iron Curtain and were utilizing these ciphers as a way of, for example, knowing where they were going to be gathering data next, or knowing certain details of their mission as an ongoing thing, which I just think is so cool. The idea of turning into a shortwave radio station and getting numbers and then using a cipher to figure out what you're supposed to do next. That's very rarely does like espionage really overlap with pop culture espionage, but that just feels like such a 007 sort of phenomenon. I just think that's super cool. Another one would... Oh, go for it.
I was going to say, it's very nifty. It's just, it doesn't feel like it's real life, but it is.
Well, another one that's super weird is MDZHB. And it's been broadcasting since 1982, and we really don't know who's doing the broadcasting. We don't know why. We don't know much of anything about it. All we really know is that it runs all day, every day, 7 days a week. And it's usually just this dull, droning sound. And every now and again you'll hear words, just man or woman, you just don't know. On one case, the word shlupka could be heard among the static, which just means like dinghy or small ship, skiff, something like that. And it's just such a weird thing. There's actually several of these. There's the pip station, the squeaky wheel station, and it's just noise. It's just noise happening. And my favorite iteration of this, and it's well, before I get to that, let's discuss one thing, which is the dead hand theory. So shortwave signals, a lot of people listen to them. They're almost on a recreational level. I certainly do. More on that in a minute. But the problem there is that these waves, they undulate. Kind of think about how the waves on the surface of the ocean move. So if you want to make sure that people can hear you all over, like, for example, if there's a nuclear war going on, you actually have to change your frequency based on the time of day. So that's, an important part of that. Here's the weird thing. This station doesn't. They are somehow easy to listen to, but we don't really know how. We don't know how it is that they don't have to change frequency. It's always the same frequency. So maybe they're using radar systems. We don't know. We don't know. That alone is to me like one of the cooler things about it. And again, it's often called the buzzer. The thing I always heard it described as post 1997 is UVB 76. And I have been listening to UVB 76 for years because I'm so fascinated when something does happen. And in fact, I'll show you guys, and who knows, maybe something will happen while I play it, but I doubt it. But this is normally what you're going to hear. Static and a beep.
It just makes that noise always?
Always. Except, and this is why I listen to it occasionally, sometimes you will hear things. Sometimes you will hear music, usually like Russian ballet. Sometimes you will hear words, like I mentioned, shlupka. And so it's just like the weirdest thing ever because people listen to it because they think if this is being transmitted from a Cold War submarine or some other layover from the Cold War, maybe this is how we'll know if something really kicks off. Like that's, yeah. So I think that's really interesting. And I know that we've talked about this before. This is a much briefer thing. But, sometimes I'll also listen to U.S. Air Force communications. And one of the things that I've found very interesting about that is there's often all sorts of interesting code terms used. And I know we've talked about this before, but the one that I've always found more interesting is Sky King, do not respond. And the number of times they say it has some sort of indication of like how bad a situation is. And so that's something I always kind of look for when I do listen to these stations, is like if somebody says something to that effect. But it's just a really interesting thing. But yeah, there's a lot of these stations, but UVB 76 and the Lincolnshire Poacher are easily the two more well-known ones. Now, the Lincolnshire Poacher is now defunct. It no longer is a thing. But you can absolutely, like I just played it, you can absolutely listen to UVB 76 because they've been going strong for decades and decades. Just, static and buzzes.
It's creepy to know that's just... And it's kind of weird to know that you just listen to it randomly, James.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every now and again, the mood takes me where I'm like, gotta listen to me some buzzer.
All right, Alex. I think that you've got the darkest topic today. What are you talking about?
You might be making some assumptions, Cece.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe not. Mine is subliminal messaging. Specifically in a radio form or... Well, I'll get into it. So, the claim is that... And this isn't about the 1950s, but really in the 80s and 90s, this theory really kind of reached its peak. And this is that...
Sorry.
And this is that advertisers, retailer... Will you stop?
I've got it.
Will you not play with something that makes noise?
Sorry.
All right.
Oh my God.
So this is... During this time, there was a claim that advertisers, retailers... intelligence agencies like the CIA, there are some CIA-linked programs to this, embedded several different types of frequencies in media that we are consuming, whether we are cognizant of it or not. So one of the things they did is they embedded sub-audible messages. So this is below 20 hertz. This is where... I'll get into it a little bit more, but this is where your brain can hear it, but you cannot.
You don't consciously make note.
Yeah.
Right, like your ears are deciphering it, but there's another layer that's a little bit below it. It's near audible or ultrasonic. This is above 14 to 15 kilohertz. And these are messages that they would use, they would pump into FM radio broadcast or music style music that you hear out and where. And I did not know this until this. And this is probably common knowledge, but I never knew. Muzak. M-U-Z-A-K.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes.
I did not know this, or maybe I faintly heard it at one point. But Muzak was actually originally a band that did all of the music for elevator music, shopping mall music. One band did all of it for quite some time.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And then eventually it became a noun, and everybody started getting in on the bills. But in some of this Muzak style hold music and these FM radio broadcasts, there were silent subliminal messages. So these are inaudible to the conscious ear. If you're listening for it, you're never going to hear it. But your subconscious decodes these messages, and maybe they can take control of you in certain ways, manipulate you into doing things as a word, like you said, Cease, innocuous. As like buy now, Or one of the things that they also tried to do at some department stores was "Do not steal." Was some of the messages that they were putting in. Oh, hang on, my charger has been disconnected.
Sorry.
Move.
Listen.
Move it or lose it.
I didn't do anything to your charger.
There we go. We're good.
Good Lord.
All right. And sometimes they would do things that would try to change your mood. And that's actually something that's pretty typical of hold music. It's actually meant to, not necessarily the subliminal message of it, but the music is meant to influence you to maybe stay a little chill, a little calm. But when I hear hold music,
it makes me mad.
I'm enraged.
It's always the same music, too.
And apparently even they've tried to do it, use this manipulation with politics. Vote Democrat. They would do things like that in some of the subliminal messaging. And this isn't to be confused with something like backmasking. You know, it's a complicated word for just going back, doing something backwards, you know.
Yeah.
And forward it says peace, love, and harmony, and backwards it says the devil loves destruction.
That was such a big, crazy conspiracy thing back during the Satanic Panic. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Man. So this is not backmasking. It's not.
There's actually been cases of people backmasking like satirically, like. Weird Al has, I can't remember which song, but if you play it backwards, he says something to the effect of "the devil likes cheese whiz," and it's literally just
that
him.
Sounds like something he would do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty awesome. So this is all just manipulation and modulation of the songs that is intended to hijack the brain waves through like just your brain's natural responses to audio, and they're hoping that it bypasses your critical thinking, effectively mind control.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is how it works with FM radio. Is that the standard FM broadcast bandwidth? Its range is actually perfect for falling within these ranges of manipulation. So below the 20 hertz, above the kilohertz, 14 to 15 kilohertz. So FM radio is actually perfect for delivering
subliminal messages?
The subliminal messages, yes. So what's also interesting, though, is that there are several patents for subliminal messages.
Who owns
and
them?
delivering them.
Who owns them?
Point me at them. Point me at them. So, for instance, Oliver Lowry has a patent, and this is for the 14.5 kilohertz ultrasonic carrier. Again, it's just a little modulation for FM and AM radio. And it can even be recorded on tape and CD for radio airplay. So, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, and then we got the next one, Schultz Doleges. Doleges? I don't know. So, real quick, Oliver Lowry, his was in 92, so the peak of everything. Schultz and Dolege, they did theirs in 88, and they do these security tones that prevent decoding without a key. So, it adjusts automatically subliminal volume in music. So it's like almost like
means.
So their patent automatically adjusts the subliminal message you're wanting to put into music or anything into a level that is inaudible, but
still there.
Reaches the subliminal. Right. It's like an automatic mixer of
doesn't
sorts
feel
for
right.
audio.
I don't like it.
Yeah. And then in 1983, the anti-shoplifting stuff was patented. One of the messages that was referenced is "I am honest," and that message was masked by white noise or some of the music type of stuff. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now, the interesting thing, I guess, with some of this is how effective is a lot of this? And why, during these times, was it such a big deal? Was it because it really was effective at manipulating? You know, because again, the CIA is involved with the use of this technology as well. It's not just capitalist pigs. It's big gov. All right. So, I guess the question is, how effective is it? The problem with it is that detection of it is actually really hard. You need a spectrum analyzer to see if it's even out there. And the FCC does not routinely scan for these frequencies. So y'all are, even today, not really being protected.
Oh my gosh.
So you know.
Seems wrong.
Yeah.
The only way to protect ourselves is to just not listen to the radio. Or,
right.
I mean,
it can be in anything.
Yeah, it could be in anything. It could be in TV.
Pretty much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, you referenced TV. There's some classic instances of them trying it in commercials where like flash like buy Coke now.
Yeah.
And like doing things like that. And I think even Looney
that.
Tunes did something with it at one point. Oh. Another thing that they think is more of like a modern iteration of this is like the 5G, or some of the subcarriers that are pushing the frequency are they doing something to control us?
I don't need 5G.
Now, I guess here is where things kind of make a lot more sense to me. It's effective, somewhat.
How do you know if they're not testing for it?
They have tested for it, actually. So in lab experiments with real people, but in a lab-controlled study, there's about a 15 to 20% effect on people. It can be nudged in the direction that the person's wanting to. Now, the way I read it is it kind of works like hypnosis, in that with basic hypnosis, not probably something really advanced, but with basic hypnosis, if a part of someone wants to do something, it can effectively make them do it. So, if someone is already thirsty,
Then
it can get them to go buy their Coke. But only if they're inclined to drink Coke.
Yeah.
Right? If someone is not thirsty, it is never going to work on them.
Like me, I would never buy a Coke. That wouldn't work on me.
But it is shown to have a 15 to 20% effect on people.
Interesting.
Which is a little unsettling.
Very.
Because it's... Okay, let's see. So there was a test of it. It was kind of like a Muzak test. The placebo, admittedly, probably ratchets this up a good 10 to 15 points or so. But they found success in their subliminal messaging with Muzak, 30%. Now, one of the things I think about that, though, is in a lot of these settings, you're convincing people. How do you test for someone wanting or not wanting to steal?
You can't ask them before because you're going to prime them.
And there are probably things that they're testing for that are not as egregious, like relaxation or something like that. But then it's like, how do you measure that? Is the setting of being tested too stressful for someone?
Yeah.
No matter what. So I started to think that maybe some of these numbers have been bumped up a bit. But the one thing that is a little concerning is that a lot of this stuff got banned. Which means that they probably saw something and know something. I think. In terms of its effect. Now, again, 10 to 20% is more than enough of an effect for it to get banned. You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a really big, but and it could be that it got pressure from parents, satanic panic, like you said, James, and that they just came down so hard that, like, okay, let's just get rid of it. Like, we don't want to hear about it anymore. There's a good chance that was also one of the reasons for it. Now, another thing that maybe puts a little salt on this one. One of the big successes with the mind control was a study by Vickeries in 1957, where he said that he was able to get people to buy a lot of popcorn with some subliminal messaging. Mm-hmm. It apparently was completely fabricated. And this was one of the earlier big successes.
Makes you wonder how much scientific study is fabricated.
I mean, a lot of it's getting thrown out nowadays because of that very thing. Yeah.
Over 50%
I've seen some,
of scientific studies are not even able to be replicated at all.
I've seen some medical studies that are using AI for their drawings and illustrations, and they're not even remotely accurate, like anatomical images, like just ridiculous hallucination-looking illustrations where it's like, we tested this supplement and this is what it did, and it's like, that's not even a human digestive system.
Exactly. So that kind of goes into how I feel about it. So BBC in 2015 actually did another radio test of their own. Now, within their parameters, they found a 0% shift that was significant.
Okay.
Wow. Doesn't mean they weren't nudged or anything like that. But then there's also is one thing, I do want to mention, just because I know some people really believe in this. There are some proven subtle wins, they say, in terms of having lingering effects of manipulation for 15 to 25 minutes after exposure to something like Muzak. And that they think that there could be some sort of lingering effect that could go on up to hours for some people. I don't know how you test for that.
Yeah.
If I'm being completely honest. Another thing is they think a lot of these tests, the placebo effect is just ratcheting it up.
Yeah.
So, in the end, I believe that there is a real possibility that you can manipulate someone slightly to do something that they were probably inclined to do already. So, a little nudge. I doubt you could activate a sleeper cell of Russian spies within a country with a subliminal message. I don't think anything like that is going to happen, or is even possible. I do think that there is success with it, but I think largely it is immeasurable things trying to be measured.
I saw a video of a magician recently kind of showing how he could nudge people to do certain things by just saying certain words in his questions. Like, he wanted all of these people to say they were thinking of chocolate. And so he said, you've got a box chock full of your favorite whatever. And he just kind of put chocolate or kind of said it in certain ways without saying chocolate. And almost all of them said chocolate.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of hypnosis. That's actually like a mentalist, I guess. That's kind of what that is, right? That's someone that they know how the mind works and can manipulate you to do things like that.
I could see that being more effective than something like a hidden "Go buy Coke" in the background of whatever you're listening to. That being said, what if this is why so many people are obsessed with Taylor Swift? What if she's got little subliminal messages in her music and it's just like...
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, good for her if she pulled that off,
No hate on anybody that likes Taylor Swift. I just still have trouble wrapping my mind around it.
A little bit of hate. I'm just kidding.
James loves Taylor Swift, so you can't. He's listening to Metallica and Taylor Swift all the time.
Sandwiches between
that would be a fun mashup.
Yeah, I bet you it exists out there somewhere, James. We just got to find it. Maybe on
By the
pirate
way,
radio.
Little off topic, but also, adjacent. I don't know if you guys have seen AI turn the genres around on different songs, but it is amazing.
It kind of is amazing.
I saw one not too long ago of If Conway Twitty sang In the Club by 50 Cent. And it's like, I'm just shocked because it doesn't sound AI generated. It just sounds like Conway Twitty had a time machine and did a cover.
Yeah.
It's wild, man.
I've heard a couple of them, and it's disappointingly good. Like,
That's a good way to describe it.
I don't want it to be able to do that. I would like some guy to go do that himself.
I get that totally.
Yeah, but then it's kind of cool too. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, you guys, that's Radio Conspiracies. James, what's your word of wisdom for the week?
Make sure you get enough vitamin C. Everybody is sick.
I was waiting to see where that was going to go radio-wise, but I liked it even better, James, because it was completely unexpected.
That's health radio right there.
There you go. The subliminal message inside of it was, go buy Benadryl.
Go buy Benadryl.
James's favorite sleep aid. No, you guys, I think it's time. It's time for Alex to say, who does our music? Oh.
Uh-oh, I need some vitamin C.
It's vitamin C, man.
It's Benadryl. Our music is by Greg Cook. You can find his music on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, anywhere you listen to music.
Anywhere you listen to music. And he's got some new stuff out now, so go check him out.
Check him out.
Until next week, we hope that you can
Keep it
strange. Yeah.
WNRK.
Oh my gosh.